What's going on, you guys? I didn't think I'd be doing another sliding bench trainer review anytime soon. I'm even kind of under the weather a little bit as I record this, but I can't really contain myself. I want to check this thing out. This is the Proform Ultimate Bodyworks. You guys know, if you guys watch my channel, I started out doing a lot of sliding bench stuff on my Weider Ultimate Bodyworks. This was when it was called the Total Bodyworks 5000, and I got that in 2011. Held up pretty good. I said for the money, even a couple of years ago, it was like down to like $100 and something. It was a steal. It was a great piece of equipment, no question. Awesome piece of machinery. Definitely I put it through the ringer. They stopped making it for a while. It was sold out, hard to get a hold of. They did change the colors in the newer models, if you guys never seen that one. But the Proform company, I don't know if they originally owned the Weider name or what at the time, but regardless, they kind of repackaged it. There's some things that look very similar. Looking at the box here, some things like the squat stand and some other stuff look very similar, but there are some different design options. So it's not necessarily just a machine, different colors and stuff like that, and different name. But this Proform Ultimate Bodyworks, I want to break it out and compare it. I'll kind of compare it to what this model looked like. And this is the same for the Weider Ultimate Bodyworks, just kind of different color scheme. We'll kind of break it out, I'll test it out, give you guys my first impressions and thoughts on it. And then I will put a link down below if you guys do want to check this out. I do have a discount for this product if you guys are interested in picking this out and also supporting the channel. I'll link that down below. As always though, if you guys do find this content helpful, please consider liking and or subscribing. Let's check out this bench. All right, first impressions on shipping. Looks pretty good. Looks like you got some minor assembly. I do remember this. I'm getting flashbacks when I put together the old machine. So looks like kind of the same screws, nuts, and bolts actually from what I'm used to seeing. So I'll check that out. I actually could use some of these parts for this thing, or at least reference them. But some assembly required, so I'll look at that and I'll talk about that as well. Otherwise, things are looking good. Initial first impressions. This thing, I think, got an upgrade. This metal, at the very least, it looks new. But I don't want to compare so much right away, but I guess it doesn't. It just looks like more of a, definitely a better gym type metal finish. Overall, I'd say package definitely pretty good. Squat stand actually definitely got an upgrade. Definitely looking pretty cool compared to the old squat stand. So that's definitely nice. I don't know if you can really fully appreciate that, but definitely got an upgrade. A little bit bigger, I'll take what we can get. Fairly similar, just a little bit wider, kind of flush on the top. But again, really nice metaling, good, definitely up in quality. And I didn't mention this, I mean, the price is definitely a little more expensive on this newer model compared to the old model, but if they're doing some nice quality changes and it's worth the money, I think that's pretty cool. Got some other parts here. So the actual, looks like you can do a kind of middle pulley attachment, which I believe was not in the original. It's been a while though since I've seen this, but this is definitely new, I think. I'll cut this in a second, and put this together. But again, just kind of first impressions out of the box. As I said, definitely better quality. Now, just eyeing and glancing at this thing, I'll compare this later. I like this material. It does seem smaller, to be honest with you, in length. Possibly the width, tiny bit wider, but very nice. As far, again, the metaling is the big thing that's kind of popping out. This is definitely an upgrade to the previous model for sure. All right, so I got it fully assembled. I would say it took me probably like 20-ish minutes. Definitely an easy setup. I can see where this someone might need some assistance with just kind of holding stuff in place for some people. Otherwise, very easy for one person to do it. What I'll do is I'm just gonna jump on this. I have not sat on it yet, haven't done anything with it. I'll give you guys my initial first impressions about the machine. Then I'll intersperse this with a workout I'll probably do later on, but I'll give you guys my initial first impressions, and then I'll get kind of up close and personal with the machine, touch on some things. Then I'll compare it with the old Weider Ultimate Bodyworks and kind of talk about how that kind of matches up. Overall, I'd say even just like touching it and shaking it, it's got the same kind of clang, same kind of noise as the older model, but definitely, like I said, the thing that sticks out the most, the metaling definitely seems a little more solid, a little more just bigger, even though, again, we'll do some direct comparisons in a second, but let's just go ahead and sit on it. What is kind of definitely glaring right away when I first saw it, you're gonna wanna probably get some better handles. This is just my opinion. I'll link some down below. On my old Weider Ultimate Body Works, I kind of switch out the handles for some better handles. I think that makes a big difference in my opinion, using these sliding bench trainers to have some good ones. So I'll link a good pair down below if you guys are interested, but probably wanna get on some handles eventually. The cabling, too, before I jump on it, very, very similar, if not identical, I would say, to the older model. And again, we'll get really close. Even these pulleys look pretty similar. The underside looks a little bit thicker. I did give an initial pull on the bands, very tight. Again, mine's been around for 10 years though, so let's go ahead and sit on it. Now, one thing I will actually point out, this takes a little bit longer to adjust. You gotta like unscrew it and then pull it out and then set it back in. So the adjustment from the Weider Ultimate Body Works to this, a little bit slower, but a little more stable. Believe it or not, I never, because the Weider Ultimate Body Works never had any safety pins. The Total gyms have safety pins. This does not, but I think this is pretty secure. The Weider Ultimate Body Works never collapsed on me. In retrospect, I'm kind of surprised at that because I was just conditioned not worrying about it. But the Total gym, people have always told me initially when I first picked one up, you know, definitely put the safety pins in because they can collapse. But I would say if you're adjusting this for the first time, I could see people not screwing this in, just kind of pulling it and letting it go. Definitely don't do that. Make sure you screw it in because it will kind of fall down on you if you guys do that. It has a little bit more of a noise to it. Overall, feels pretty good. Nice firm like seat. Different type of glide, I would say. And again, a big difference with this stuff is if you have like cheap handles like this, and you know what, I'm probably gonna switch these handles out because that doesn't really do it justice. If you're pressing with cheap handles on a machine like this, to me, it kind of does ruin the experience. So I'm gonna switch these out really quick. Yeah, definitely feels better with some better handles on it. Again, if you're comparing this to like a Total Gym, like a deluxe style, I shouldn't say deluxe style, but like a Total Gym Fit or XLS they got behind me, a little bit different. Those are a little bit smoother to ride. Even the Total Gym like Apex models, those are noisy too, but a little bit different ride. I can't say what this is just, and I said this before with the Weider Ultimate Body Works, more of an aggressive ride, which is sometimes a good thing because it feels like it's giving you guys a little bit more resistance. Now, first impressions of just the pull-up bars. This actually feels really good. Now, something I never did was I never used these. I lost these pins a long time ago, and so I never attached them lower. My thing was always kind of, I just threw them in there and they would kind of sit a bit lower. So having a little bit higher is a little bit different. I actually prefer to have these pins out so it sits lower, but otherwise, this feels really good. All right, now you can start to hear how noisy that is. Now, it never really bothered me. I got used to it. It's on carpet especially, it's not a big deal. But some people really don't like that when you can't detach this middle pulley and it's kind of noisy. Let's see how the squats work. All right, so there's the basic squat. You can see it's a bigger stand, but still have to get these feet pretty high up to avoid them, you know, going over your toes. Again, if I were to sit how it's truly meant like this, you know, that's definitely not good. You could do this. Definitely, let's see how single leg tries feels. So good. It's nice it's a little bigger, but honestly, not a huge difference in the squat stand department. I know people are gonna ask me, but I'm just gonna say it anyway. Some of you guys already know this. You cannot do the Total Gym attachments on these machines, so that's just an FYI on that. The resistance bands, now I said this before, the resistance bands that come on this thing, in my opinion, were some of the best. I mean, they gave you some great resistance. Not necessarily for legs, that won't be too hard, but definitely to put these resistance bands on. They give you a decent amount of great tension if you're doing things like pressing and like pull-ups, but even this feels really good. Now I can't sit, it's a new thing I've been doing, I'm kind of sitting a little further off the machine. Can't do that here, it kind of likes to rub against the side. All right, now I'm just directly comparing this Proform Ultimate Body Works to Weider Ultimate Body Works. If you guys haven't noticed already, they are definitely similar. There's some obvious upgrades though as well. Now, if it's worth the $100 upgrade, because that's more or less what this thing is kind of going a little bit higher in price in. If it does go down in price, I will link that down below as well. Currently it's not on Amazon, but if it does go on Amazon, that might go cheaper. But as of now, I'll link that promo code down below if you guys want to check that out. But the biggest thing you're paying for, if it's worth the upgrade, is this tower, which has some pros and cons with it. One con is that, believe it or not, it actually, since this top hole is not really a functional use for the leveling, it's for that middle pulley, or that top pulley, it's actually a little bit shorter than the older Weider Ultimate Bodyworks. However, some of the benefits are, I mean, this thing's a lot sturdier as far as like shaking back and forth. This one, granted, there's some loose bolts in here, definitely rickety, but this little area here, not having this notch here, that was a problem because I was always kind of scratching that with that middle pulley. This now takes that out of the equation. For the most part though, even looking at the undercarriage of the machines, they look, again, almost identical, even down to the middle pulley. This little middle area here where it bends and folds up. And again, I'll show you the kind of fold up comparison too. But otherwise, even this undercarriage looks the same. The cabling looks the same. It seems like they're using the exact same thing. Pull-up bars are the same, other than, again, the nice metal coating on top. Squat stand is definitely bigger. Now, as far as like a direct comparison to like how they feel, that's what I'll do right now. These are both the highest setting. And again, we're keeping in mind that my Weider is 10 years old. I also didn't mention, I didn't even measure it, but just looking at them close next to each other, these things are definitely the same as far as the width and length. So on the highest setting, you know, just it reminds me of the other one, just not as broken in and rickety. Now comparing it to the Weider, keep in mind this thing is 10 years old, and it's like right now it's leaning to the side. It's all rickety, definitely an aggressive pull. This is definitely just fluid, but it's really hard to say. They feel very similar, especially when you keep in mind that this distance from here to here is also basically the same. So they're basically our carbon copies for the most part, other than the upgrade in the metaling and everything else I already touched on. Definitely this middle pulley here. And then this too might be something you guys are considering, because this one didn't have this option. So this is another kind of added feature that is there now. I know there's people out there that use their sliding bench trainers and connect this middle piece. I personally, honestly, never really gave it probably a fair shake, but you do have this option here of this middle pulley to do a variety of things if you guys want that option. So that's also there. The other sacrifice I'd say in this one is it's not as fast to kind of switch between exercises, given this kind of screw-on mechanism and shifting between exercises. Not a huge deal though. Now, the other great benefit of the Weider Ultimate Bodyworks that I've always talked about when you compare these other sliding bench trainers is the fact that it's probably the easiest and quickest to set up and break down. And with that, probably the easiest to kind of transport. Now, again, there's that pro and con about not being able to detach that pulley, but the great thing is I'll show you how easy it is to break this thing down. All right, so you can see pretty easy to break down and set up. I'm not saying everybody will find it that easy, but collapses nice and tight. Don't have to worry about smashing your fingers like you do in the total gyms, but that's definitely a pro in these models. Now let's check out breaking down this Proform, because believe it or not, I haven't even done that yet. I'm not sure if this is different, so let's see if that Proform is any different with that middle tower. This thing's a beast, definitely heavier than that thing. This metaling kind of shows off when I pick it up on that extra tower, but you can collapse it. Let's see if this goes any closer. Yeah, so you can collapse it how you saw it here, but not as fast as that. So there is something to that. This is a little bit bulky when you kind of put it down. Got a chance to do some light exercising on it. Like I said in the beginning of the video, I was sick with something. I think I actually finally caught that bug that's been going around. It's still kind of unconfirmed at this point, but point is I was definitely still out of it, definitely feeling kind of weak, but wanted to just kind of move my body and was messing around with this thing. So I didn't get a chance to kind of really tear into this thing as much as I would like to have. I'm sure I will do more of it in the future, but really it definitely feels like the original Weider Ultimate Bodyworks, just kind of upgraded subtly. And I've been saying this with all my sliding bench trainers. They all have their pros and cons. You know, comparing this to like something else in the same price point, like a total gym, might be kind of a more of a tougher choice for some people, because this is a very good quality machine. If it was in that 100 range, I would say like the original Weider Ultimate Bodyworks, I'd say definitely it's a steal. I still love this machine. I still think it's a really efficient, really easy way to kind of set up and just jump into exercises. I love the quick transition to having the pull-up bar up top and the way everything's kind of set up, and even the resistance bands.
I still love the way this thing kind of feels, and it definitely has just been a lot more improvements kind of put into it as far as like keeping it sturdy and more durable. My old tried and true exercises like this one right here, this still is my favorite leg exercise to do in any sliding bench trainer, is this prone squat on the Weider Ultimate Bodywork. Something about having these resistance bands attached, and it doesn't look like they are, but they definitely are. You can't see them with their black there. That's one of my favorite squats. That just feels really good in the legs. And overall, I'd say just this machine still feels good, just like the original model. It doesn't really miss a beat in any way. It definitely improved it. Now it's kind of up to you when you get, like I said, in that price point, like the $200 range, if it's going to be worth picking up one of these or a let's say like a more inexpensive total gym where you can kind of utilize those total gym attachments. So that's kind of up to you. I'd still recommend this machine to people. I still think it's a solid piece of fitness equipment. Again, if you guys have any questions, comments, feedback about this equipment or anything else, let me know. The link is down below for this machine if you guys want to check it out. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.